Were you guys friends in high school?
No, because
Sarah was a soccer kid. We
I didn't even play soccer.
We became friends after high school because she was dating Lucas and I started dating Dylan, and Dylan and Lucas were friends. So that's kind of what brought us together. But Marcy has always been really good friends with Sarah, and so was Kat and Daniel from them all going to Brock together. So we kind of started like merging together a little bit.
I wasn't close with. It was Daniel and Celine and Tanya.
Oh, okay. But we slowly, like, Marcy would invite Sarah to things, and then when I started dating Dylan, we got closer. Well, at first we didn't.
At first you guys didn't like each other?
I was fine.
So Christina didn't like you.
I did not like her, but her friend at the time, there was a rumor.
Yes, that apparently I made up, which I didn't.
It's okay.
Which was started by Lucas.
It's okay. Christina bullied me in elementary school, so that's what she
never bullied you.
Really?
Too.
Because I said you stuffed your bra. That happened once.
Everybody I stuffed my bra.
Was being bullied.
It's because I was being bullied. Yeah.
But not by me.
I know, but I had to find a new target.
Has to be the bully.
Yeah.
Who were you being bullied by?
Don't you remember those girls would bully me?
Honestly, I don't. I don't remember.
I didn't have an older sister, so I wasn't part of the older sister club.
Was I part of the older sister?
Well, you had an older sister.
I don't remember there being an older sister.
There was an older sister club, and I remember vividly one recess, I was like standing on a snow hill.
Did you get pushed?
I was standing on a snow hill, and these groups of girls were standing on another snow hill, and the one girl that was my friend was like running back and forth, like being the messenger into like what these people were saying, and like I was like on the snow hill alone, like being bullied by these other girls on the other snow hill. And don't you remember the one birthday party? They played hide and seek, and I was hiding, and then nobody came to find me.
Was I at that party?
I think so. And then like I got my mom called. Like my mom got called, and like she came and got me.
So because Christina got bullied by people other than me, she decided she was going to bully me and tell everybody that I stuffed my bra.
I don't think I bullied. It was clearly, obviously,
and just so you guys know, I didn't stuff
it. Was clearly jealousy because I didn't hit puberty, and everybody else hit puberty.
Everybody else?
Yes.
I think I hit puberty really early.
No,
you did?
I did, and a few other girls did, but a lot of other girls didn't.
I think it was just me.
No, it was not just you. It was not just you.
Well, in our school,
you may have just felt that way, but it was not.
So
just
that
you.
was definitely out of jealousy that I started saying that.
Well, at least you can admit it.
100%.
Apology accepted.
100%.
Honestly, at the end of the day, we all want to be
popular. You know, just popular. We saw Wicked recently. It was great.
I know. I'm really, really excited to see it.
You should have came with us.
That's what I said.
I was gonna. You know what? I don't know why I didn't ask to go with
why
you.
You didn't ask.
Maybe I wasn't available or something that night, and that's why. I don't know. But you guys also went late, and it's like a 3-hour movie.
No,
I would be falling asleep.
We went at
It was like
7.
Yeah, that's late. That's late for 3 hours.
You want to go at 2 p.m.?
Correct.
Nay.
At least 5.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, to the Talk Your Tail Off podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, and today's guests are returning guests, Sarah and Christina, friends of mine. Hey.
Hey. I got a haircut. Do you guys like it?
I like it. You like it.
I do, but it looks really funny right now with these headphones.
Oh, it's so cute.
But it's all good.
It's cute.
And you can't forget.
I'm still
Oh,
pregnant.
yes. And like about to pop.
Yes.
But she looks
week.
great, doesn't she, everybody?
Are you excited?
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah, excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm going to go over every day.
Okay, let's get into today's episode,
Okay.
which is basically just life updates because the past couple of weeks I feel like have been really insane.
For Vanessa, not for us.
Yeah, we want to hear all about it.
Oh, and we have a lot to like discuss in regards to like controversial things about these things. Anyways,
Oh my gosh.
we're going to start out by the Spicy Nona Facebook page being hacked.
Ugh, drama.
Terrible.
I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
I'm pissed because I wish I was there, because had I been there and this hacker, people get upset when I say hacker because they didn't technically hack, but it was a scammer. Okay.
Scam artist.
So the scammer, as the scammer was walking my brother through certain steps, had I been there, I would have been like, nope, stop.
I
This
would
is not real.
just been like, first off, you're a professional and we're supposed to, you're this famous person's podcast. Like, you shouldn't have to walk me through. Like, you should have a system that is so professional that I just join in.
Julian didn't.
But
know
again,
about her.
yes, you don't know. I get it. Like,
We'll talk about
excitement,
it.
Yeah.
We'll explain what happened. So he got an email from somebody stating that they were from the Candace Cameron, Candace. I
Yeah,
don't know.
the girl from Full House.
Oh,
Girl from Full House,
okay.
not Candace. What's her
Like,
name?
did she do this
The
the Fuller
sister.
House?
Yeah.
Okay.
The sister, not Stephanie. Why can't I remember her name? Not Stephanie.
I don't even remember.
Not Mary Kate and Ashley. The other one.
The oldest one.
The oldest one.
Yeah, yeah.
DJ.
DJ.
Anyways, I don't know. I never watched Full House, so I don't know.
Her.
But that someone from her team wanted to know if Julian wanted to be on her podcast, because I guess her podcast is a lot about family values. I don't know. I've never watched it. And Julian's channel is all about family. And it was a very professional email. It was signed at the bottom with like their logo, and it had all of their links to their social media channels. So it seemed very legitimate. Very legitimate. And even the email seemed legitimate. So,
ChatGPT.
well, even the email like address, the email address seemed
Yeah.
legitimate. Everything seemed very legitimate. So I even read it and I was like, this is a great opportunity. Now, for me, if this was like Oprah is inviting you on the show, I would have been like, hey, this is not real. Right?
I would have
Yeah.
been like, can I meet with Oprah before? And then
But she
probably
seems
would have
like
never met with Oprah.
she's not
as-
that famous.
She's
She's
not
that
like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
this is a possibility for sure.
Yeah.
And I was looking at her views, and her views were mediocre. So I thought to myself, if her views aren't that high and she's not that famous,
And
I've
she's, like,
never heard of
bringing
her,
on- yeah.
then maybe it's legitimate, right? So I told my brother, yeah, you should go for it. It seems like a great opportunity. And the worst part about it is that we really want to get my grandfather famous for his artwork. So that was the most exciting part for us, was just to be able to get his name out there possibly in some way, because he always says, I'm not going to be famous until I die. And I don't want that to happen. I want it to happen before he dies. So it was very exciting for us to be able to do this. So they said to him, we're going to meet for a tech check a few hours before we go live, just to ensure that everything is operating properly, which again seems very legitimate and very professional,
Right.
right? So when they went on this tech check, he had Julian go into Facebook, and he's like, okay, you need to go to your events. So Julian goes to his events, and then he couldn't find the link to get on the podcast through events. So this guy was telling him, okay, this is not working. We need to go into your permissions. You might have something on your permissions that's blocking you from being able to do this. So let's get onto your permissions and go from there.
Side note, I did ask Vanessa after this, was the guy on Zoom, like video camera where you can see them? And she said no, or like Julian said no. And to me,
They
that
were-
would have been like, yeah, a huge red flag.
They were on Zoom, but he wouldn't turn on his camera.
Yeah, that to me is like a huge red flag.
But he made Julian turn on his, which is also weird. So Julian couldn't figure out what he was asking him to do. So the guy asked him, can we screen share?
Oh shit.
And then when we were screen sharing, he was walking Julian through the steps and having him, he goes, okay, you're going to add someone to your permissions. But it wasn't a random email. The guy wanted Julian to add himself in his permissions. So use like his own personal email address into his permissions. So to Julian, it didn't seem out of the ordinary, because it's not like this person said, put in my email address, right? He said, put in whatever email address you want to add to the permissions. So we learned afterwards what he did, and we didn't know at the time. When Julian did that, he added himself, then he gets an email. And when he gets an email, it says, the Spicy Nona is inviting you to join
Whatever
their
it is.
Facebook page. Julian clicks the link that says accept. And when he clicks that link, it shows up while they're screen sharing. And what the guy did was take the URL at the top of that screen and typed it into his computer. And then because he got the URL, he was able to accept the permissions on his end.
Oh my god.
It's crazy to me how anybody figured out how to do that, number one. So at 7:00, which is when they're supposed to go live, Julian calls me and he goes, we're like, this guy hasn't called me. Like, we're not live. And as soon as he said that to me,
You're like,
I was like,
bro.
this is a scam. And he goes, you think it's a scam? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm like, did you do anything that could have caused issues with your Facebook page? And he said no, because to his knowledge, he put in his own email address. He's like, I didn't do anything that would give this guy access to my page. I was like, okay. I was out. I was like, when I get home, I'm going to log on to your Facebook page and see if I see anything unusual. Sure enough, I get home, I tell John what happens, and John starts Googling podcast Facebook Live scam. First thing that pops up on Google.
No.
The first thing.
Like Candace, that was.
Well, no, the first thing that popped up was that this is a new scam.
Oh.
But then if you go on Cameron Candace or whatever it is, Candace Cameron, I can't remember her name. If you go on her social media and you scroll quite a bit down, they posted something saying that somebody was pretending to be them. So as soon as I read this, I sent it to Julian and I was like, you got scammed. I'm gonna go into your permissions right now. So I ran on the computer, went into the permissions, and sure enough, Julian's permissions were removed, and this scammer has full control of his page now.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's terrible. So he has no access to the page anymore.
He has basic access, so like he can post if he wants to.
Just so weird.
He can, I know. Well, because the guy didn't want Julian to know that he got into the permissions, because what this guy did was he started stealing his ad revenue. So now whenever Julian gets paid through Facebook, this guy is getting paid.
But how? Because he
His
changed.
credit card?
He somehow linked a different page to the Spicy Nona, and and it said like ad revenue sharing. So this guy didn't want Julian to know that. He wanted Julian to continue posting his content as usual, because then he's going to get paid, right? So fortunately, because I realized this, I had Julian delete all of the videos off of his page, take his banking information off of it. So this guy is still making money and he is reposting Julian's content, but now this guy has to put in work in order to make money,
the money,
right? So at least we're making him do something.
Can Julian still go in and delete the videos he posts?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But you know what's going to happen is he's going to go in and delete the videos, and then this guy's just going to remove Julian's permissions, because he did originally remove Julian completely, where Julian couldn't do anything.
And then he put him back on it?
Then he put him back on it, which we don't really understand why he did
But
that.
what are you doing?
And then it's confusing, because it's like, why did he put him back on it? And like, what is he trying to do? Like, we're a little bit concerned about what else it is he might be trying to do.
So what's Facebook doing to help?
Nothing.
Nice.
So Meta is impossible to get a hold of.
Should I report the page?
You can report it all you want. Everybody, like probably tens of thousands of people at this point have probably reported that page, because I've posted about this publicly, and so has Julian. It's still up and running, so they don't do much. Now, to get a hold of Meta is nearly impossible. When I first started my Facebook page, I had posted a video of me grooming puppies, German Shepherd puppies, and then all of a sudden, Facebook demonetized me. And I'm looking, and like Facebook doesn't give you a reason. It doesn't like it tells you that you went against the community guidelines.
This bitch is crazy. We're demonetizing.
Yeah, like they literally don't give you a reason. Where, for example, YouTube, if YouTube demonetizes one of your videos, it gives you an explanation as to why, and you can appeal it if you think that it's like not right. But they won't demonetize your entire page, unless you like do something really bad. But they'll just demonetize that specific video if it's not suitable for ads.
Right.
And then give you an explanation so that you don't make the same mistake moving forward. Facebook doesn't do that. So I was trying to contact Meta to find out why I was demonetized. And then it took me a really long time. I was able to appeal it, but it took me a long time to realize what video was removed, because I have like hundreds and hundreds of videos on there. So I'm like, what video was a problem? And it wasn't until I realized finally my German Shepherd puppy video isn't on here anymore. And their reasoning for it was because I was soliciting to sell these dogs, but I wasn't selling anything. I was just grooming them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for a while I was scared to groom anything, post
Like
anything of me grooming puppies.
Yeah.
I ended up fixing the issue, but it took a very long time. So Julian specifically, I had to pay for Meta Verified, even though I'm already verified on Facebook. Because if you pay for Meta Verified, then they give you support, of course. So I managed to contact support, and they said they would get back to me within 24 to 48 hours, and it's been like 5 days, and I haven't heard from them. So he was very stressful. Julian was devastated.
I'm so upset. All that work that you put in.
Yeah, that's horrible. And it's a very, it's a helpless feeling because you don't know how to fix the problem. But Meta needs to get on it because they are responsible for not helping their creators. Truly, it shouldn't be that easy to scam. And if it is that easy to scam, you should still be able to contact somebody at Meta to get your account back because. He had like 200,000 followers. He was earning, it was helping him pay his mortgage, right? And now it's just gone overnight.
So horrible.
So bad.
Yeah, it sucks.
I will say, when Vanessa told me that Julian got this call, I kind of was like, oh, that's nice. Or like, that's cool. Like, I feel like I didn't react as like excited because I just
skeptical.
Kind of.
Like,
Not because I didn't think
days.
Julian's like done well for himself, but I just like something didn't seem like legit. But like, again, I wasn't going to say that to you. And like,
You should have.
I know, but I didn't want to sound like a downer and like, okay, you don't think my brother's good enough.
But it's good to be like,
But I just like something just like, I was just like, oh, I was like, okay, just because same thing, like he's not huge.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking like if someone's going to get contacted, like again, like your account's bigger than his. So I just found it like odd.
But keep in mind when you say my account's bigger than his, I have gotten plenty of invitations for podcasts that I have just denied. And I never did them.
True.
So for Julian, he's a smaller creator. He's trying to build his platform. I thought it would be good for him to get more exposure, right? So
something just like seemed like I
well,
just wasn't
and it
like,
was.
yeah,
it was off.
But I didn't want to say anything and be like a
downer. Yeah, of course.
like you should look into that.
I feel like you can't trust anything.
You just like never know. You just never know. You never know.
That's really unfortunate, though.
So everybody, go follow. Oh my god, I'm burping.
The real
spicy.
The real one, the real,
not
deal.
the fake, the phony.
And right now there's 2 accounts called The Real Spicy Nona because naturally somebody copied his new account.
Oh my god.
There are lots of girl with the dogs too on TikTok. There's like girl with the dog.
TikTok is so
girls
frustrating.
with the dogs, girl with the dogs too.
Yeah, it's very easy to copy and repost.
And I'm constantly reporting them. And TikTok will take the account down. It's just a process.
At least they're like more proactive.
Yes.
I feel like than Meta, which is kind
it
of nice.
people from the States who are reposting your content?
Like,
Because they would get paid way more.
Yeah.
Anyone, yeah.
Well, I don't get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Canadian creators don't.
You should just ask them, like, do you want to post it and like send me a each.
I tried that already with I tried with like a company in the States where they just post my
that's
content
smart.
and then I'll just take half the revenue, but it didn't end up working out.
That would have been smart.
Anyways, so yes, the Spicy Nona got hacked. For any creator that watches this is a scam. And go follow his new page, The Real Spicy Nona, or you can just follow him on YouTube. But yeah. Okay, so the next topic is Saber, the cat.
Saber.
You know what that?
Do you still have Saber?
No.
You know what that makes me think of? The Office, when they merge with when they thought it was Sabre, but it's Saber.
What part was
know,
that?
When it's like Dunder Mifflin and a Sabre, and then they're like Saber. When
I
they're
remember that part.
that's when they merge with like the printing company.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
It didn't stick.
didn't stick. It was good. Anyways, go on.
So Saber the cat was the cat that bit me. It's the first time I've ever been actually bit by an animal. Like I've been bit plenty of times, but it's never really broken the skin. That's the first time I was like, oh, I have to go to the emergency now.
And their teeth are like
Razors.
puncture. Yeah.
So fast. But anyways, that Saber came to me from the Humane Society to be shaved because he was very matted. And they did sedate him prior to his appointment with me. Grooming went relatively okay. Yeah. If you watched the video, it went relatively well. He was a little bit spicy, but he didn't really do much. He tried to bite me once, but he was wearing the bubble and I had gloves on, so it didn't matter. But grooming was okay. But he was so beautiful.
So
His
cute.
eyes.
And so scared that I was like,
No, poor
I really want to like help this cat. But I didn't even say that to the Humane Society. I just said to the Humane Society because they had told me that their vet was interested in adopting him.
Did he get adopted?
I'll finish the story, but
Sorry.
Don't jump ahead.
don't jump.
Sorry.
But their vet was interested in adopting him. So I thought, okay, because he's a Scottish fold and Scottish fold have so many health issues, it's probably a good idea that he is in a home with a vet because she can provide him with better care than most people. I mean, I could have provided him with great care as well, but obviously not as great as an actual vet. I had messaged them and I said, if the vet does not adopt Saber, please let me know because I might be interested in keeping him. And then she asked if she could call me. And then I picked up the phone and she said, do you mind keeping him for a few days? Because he's really stressed at the shelter. And then, if it goes well and everything, then maybe you want to adopt him. And I thought, okay, that's actually not a bad idea. And he was already at my house. So that's what I did. So I ended up keeping him for a couple of days. I kept him in my office with me. My dogs were not allowed in there. The door, not only was the door shut, but I also had a gate up at the door. So even if I opened the door, there was no possibility of a dog coming in, so that he had his own space. There was plenty of places for him to hide if he wanted to hide. I got him one of those like cat houses that are like almost totally enclosed, so he could stay in there if he wanted to. He had his litter box and his food in there. And the good thing was that I was editing in there. So I would go in there every day and work in there, and that way I would be near him, but I wouldn't be bugging him. So he had like the ability to become a little bit more familiar with me. So by day 2, he wouldn't eat food, but the only thing he would eat was tubes.
I'm so stressed.
He loved the tubes.
What are tubes?
The churu tubes.
Oh, like the things that you give the cats in the videos?
Yeah.
Do you like the tubes? She says. She goes, do you want a tube?
I don't say it like that.
She goes,
Can we have like a compilation of you giving tubes to cats?
I actually think
or we should have a
do.
compilation of you just saying,
Tube.
do you want a tube? Tube.
Anyways, so I was giving him lots of tubes. I was hand feeding him those. I was even putting them on my hand and giving them to him, and he was licking them off my hand. So we were getting a little bit more comfortable. And then if I would pet his head, he was starting to lean his head into my hand. So he was starting to enjoy pets. So I'm like, okay, like we're getting somewhere. Then one night before bed, I went to go say goodnight to him, and I was petting him on his back with one finger. Like just petting him with one finger, like really gently, because I didn't want to like scare him because he was so nervous. And he lifted his back, and that's usually a good sign when they lift their back, right? They're trying to rub themselves into it. And then after he lifted his back, he turned and he looked at my hand.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, he doesn't like this. So I stopped. I didn't continue petting him, but I didn't move my hand. And my hand wasn't on him. My hand was just like close to him. And I didn't move it. And I don't know why I didn't move it. It was almost like I was frozen because I noticed he didn't like something. So I was like, I'm just going to freeze.
You just stopped. Yeah.
I'm just going to freeze and wait till he like calms down or something, right? And in that moment, he just bit my hand. That was it.
Like
just
went
bit it.
down and...
Yeah, just so fast that I didn't even... It was like lightning. It was crazy.
Was your hand down?
It was
like...
lower. It wasn't like on the... like down, but it was near his back, kind of.
Okay.
So he might have thought you were going to go back in for
And touch him again.
Yeah.
I don't know. So he bit my hand, and then he looked at me and hissed right after he bit my hand.
You're like, you son
He was
of a
like,
bitch.
yeah, that's right. Don't touch me.
I was like, okay. It didn't really hurt. Like it was like so fast that it didn't really hurt. But I looked at it and saw that it was a pretty deep puncture, and I was like, shit. I know what a cat bite is. And naturally, it happened at 8:30 at night when urgent care and the walk-in clinics are closed. So my only option was to go to the hospital, and I wasn't going to go. I was like, nope, I'm not going to go. A friend of mine had amoxicillin, even though that's not technically what I needed. I needed like amoxicillin with something else. I can't remember. It starts with a C.
Like an antibiotic?
Yeah, like combination antibiotic, because it's like stronger, a lot stronger. But I was like, someone I know has amoxicillin, so I'll just take that tonight, and tomorrow I'll just go to urgent care. So that's what I was going to do. That I was like on my way to drive to that person's house to get the amoxicillin. And then she actually called me because she called the pharmacy where she knows somebody that works there. And the pharmacist told her she should probably go to the ER because cat bites can be so serious. It's not worth the risk.
Of waiting the whole night. Yeah.
Yeah, because by the next morning, her hand can be infected very quickly.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, damn. I really didn't want to go.
The wait is terrible. So you went to the hospital? You went.
I went to the hospital. I was there for 6.5 hours.
God.
And at the 6.5 hour mark, I went to talk to the nurse and I said, where am I on the list? And she said I was number 10. And I was like, okay, what are the odds that I'm going to get seen before like 8 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Because if it's going to be like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, I might as well just go home, go to bed, and then go to urgent care the next day because it opens at 9 rather than me sitting here all night not sleeping.
Yeah.
At this point, I was like so tired. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was
So gross in
exhausted.
there.
Yeah, it sucks in there.
And she looked at me and was a guy, not a girl. And he said to me, yeah, like you can probably go to urgent care. I was like, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
How long were you there at that point?
6.5 hours.
Oh, you did the 6.5.
Yeah. And
I would have waited probably, I think, 3 or 4.
John was like, I've already waited all this time. We might as well stay. And I was like, nope, I'm going home. I am so tired. I am so miserable right now.
Yeah, it's
I
horrible
can't
there.
stay here any longer on these stupid chairs that are so uncomfortable. I want to die. I can't even like sleep in here.
No, and people smell.
Ugh, it was just not a good time.
Yeah, who walks
I
in
hate
there?
it there.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people in the comment section said you didn't get seen because it wasn't an emergency. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that even the people that were there that had real emergency situations were also not being seen.
Yes.
So it wasn't just me. And it's just, they just had one doctor. I don't even think they had a doctor there for a good 4 hours because for 4 hours, not one single person got called in. Oh my God. It was just, and it's not their fault. It's
our
the healthcare
healthcare.
system
Yeah, it's
is
terrible.
horrific.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
This is in Canada, folks, by the way.
Ontario specifically, because
Yeah.
it's not like this in every province.
Our healthcare is a little bit of
My dad was waiting 11 hours at the
crapola.
hospital. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
It's bad. There's not enough nurses. There's not enough doctors. They're understaffed. Anyways, so the next morning I went to urgent care and then I was there for 4 hours.
Oh my God.
It's horrible.
It was a good 17 hours before I saw a doctor and got a prescription. And at that point, my hand was infected. So yeah, that was fun. But the antibiotics worked and everything's good and all worked out. But people were pissed that I didn't keep Saber. They were like, oh, one bite and you just give him up. I'm like,
But you never, that was never really like the goal to keep Saber. Like you kind of
No,
want
you're
him
just
to,
you were just fostering him to help out the Humane Society, basically.
like if it went well, there might have been
Yeah.
the intention to keep him, but I was fostering him to
Yeah.
try and make it easier on him. Now I have little dogs and maybe he would have been okay with the little dogs in the future. Maybe he never would have been okay with the dogs in the future. What am I going to do? I'm going to isolate him in a room for the rest of his life because my little dogs come first. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if that cat attacked Ace would be dead in an instant. So no, I'm not letting that happen. So when he bit me, it wasn't me giving up on him because he bit me and I was upset. I really was not upset with him at all. It was actually quite funny when he bit me. I was like, really? Like I was like,
yeah.
damn. Like I
Cats
wasn't
are
mad at
spicy.
him.
Yeah.
You're like,
they're spicy.
really wanted this to work, man.
Yeah.
I know. Like, that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I really wanted to help you and now I got to give you back. And not only that, but John would be like, this cat bit you and you're
Yeah.
still keeping it. Are you okay?
Are you all there? Yeah, no.
Yeah. So you can't afford to invite someone else to your misfit pack right now.
Well,
There's a
no,
lot.
I am looking to get a cat. I am.
Oh, okay.
I am looking to get a cat, but it has to be the right cat.
Of course.
The right fit.
Yeah. Okay, but where's Saber?
So I had to call the Humane Society. They picked Saber back up. Saber will be available for adoption, everybody. Everybody's like, they're going to put him down. No, they're not. I already spoke to them. He had to be in a 10-day quarantine after he bit me to make sure that he doesn't exhibiting any signs of rabies. He does not have rabies, but that's just the protocol that they do. So the 10 days is up now, I believe. Yeah, it's up now. So he has to get neutered. And then once he's neutered, he will be on their site and available for adoption. And he's going to be adopted immediately.
he's beautiful.
Immediately.
Yeah.
But he needs a home that's quiet.
Yeah.
That has lots of open space so that he can like hide and decompress on his own without being bothered. Like I would say probably not any other pets, at least right away, like until he gets a little bit
Maybe
more
no kids,
comfortable.
like-
Probably
Yeah.
no young children, because if there's young
no
children
grabbing.
running after him, there's
Yeah.
no way that he's going to be okay with
Yeah.
that. So really, his biting me helped him because now the Humane Society has a better idea of the kind of house that he needs.
Yeah.
So they're setting him up for success
Yeah.
versus failure.
For sure.
So
yeah.
everybody who's so mad, it really was better for the cat if I
It
gave
is.
him up.
Yeah.
Because then he'd
he's
keep
fine.
getting rehomed. Like,
Yes.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not nice to see.
No.
No, and he wouldn't have been happy in my house long term. I don't feel unless I had a different house that was a lot bigger, which
Yeah.
I don't. So.
And he had like his own little play room,
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Playroom.
Own house.
cat room.
But yeah, he was a beautiful cat, and
He was
it's
really
too bad that he is so stressed and scared.
I
But
know. That just makes me wonder like what kind of environment he came from. But you never know. Like, I wonder if he came from an environment like with kids and like they were chasing him.
So from what I heard, he was given up because the owner said they didn't have time for him anymore and they had a baby. So I don't think there was kids in the house. It must be the first baby.
Oh.
I have a strong suspicion that he was used for breeding. And the reason I say that is because male cats that are not neutered will spray. Most of the time, they will spray. And their urine smells horrifically.
So bad.
So nobody keeps their animal, their expensive Scottish fold. Like if they had the money to buy a Scottish fold, they certainly had the money to neuter him. So my guess is that he was used for breeding. And then either he is no longer like producing, or these people had a child and decided that they no longer wanted to breed cats. And so they just gave him up. Like that's the only thing that makes any logical sense to me. It doesn't seem like he's had any socialization with people. So it's all very,
So sad.
it's new for him. He needs a lot of like socialization and all of that before he, I think, becomes a normal cat, really. Normal pet.
Sad.
Poor guy.
I know. Makes me want to cry.
He'll have a good life.
Damn freaking people.
So that's the second story. And then we have the third story. The final story is about Angel, the extremely matted and neglected dog that I worked on at the Welland SPCA shelter. That video went out today. It's already, I feel like it's going viral on Facebook. I've never gotten that many views in such a short period of time on Facebook before. So that's good because the more views that video gets, the more people will donate because more people will see it towards her care. So for those of you who haven't seen it, check it out. It's on Girl with the Dogs 2 on YouTube. But it was a Shih Tzu type dog. I got a call from the Humane Society. Oddly enough, that day, I had a scheduled appointment for a Rottweiler at 11 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, I checked my phone just to make sure I didn't have any messages from them. And I did. And it said that they had to cancel the appointment.
Wow. Meant to be.
Right?
Yeah.
So at 10 o'clock, I was like, oh, okay, I have the day off. I have so much work I need to catch up on the computer. I'm going to spend the day doing that. So I go over to my computer and I'm like starting to do work. And all of a sudden I look at my phone and I get a text from the Humane Society sending me photos of this dog. And it said, we have an extreme emergency case. So I text her back. I'm like, well, I had a cancellation today, so I can groom the dog today. Perfect, right? Although even if I didn't get a cancellation, that dog was so bad I would have
Figured it out.
I would have either canceled the dog that I had booked to go deal with this one, or I would have just done it right after because it was just a Rottweiler. So they called me and asked if I could go there versus them coming to me, which is what they normally do, because it was so severe
So sad.
that it was going to be an extremely painful process for that dog. Like it was probably going to get cut during the process just because of how bad the matting was. It's probably going to feel like I'm ripping its skin off as I'm trying to remove the pelt. So they thought there's a good chance that this dog is going to have to be, put under anesthesia so that it's completely knocked out. Or no, it's not anesthesia. It was a shot they wanted to give her that would basically knock her
A
out.
sedative kind of?
Yeah. If it came to that point, but they wanted me to try and do it without it because the dog was emaciated and dehydrated and just, we didn't know what else could be medically wrong with the dog because they hadn't got blood work done yet. They had just gotten the dog. So it was a last resort to sedate because sedation can actually cause more problems if the animal is not well, right?
Vanessa also sent a photo to me and Sarah that day.
Oh my God.
And we both were like, what is that?
I thought the dog was like a medium-sized dog. I didn't even know it was like a little mini.
Yeah.
So did I by that picture. When I got there, I was like, oh, I was not expecting this to be a small dog.
No, like where'd that hair come from?
I know. And funny enough, we were supposed to film the podcast that day. And that's the reason why I sent you the photo to say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I don't know if I'm going to make it in time for the podcast, which we didn't.
No.
That's why we're doing it today.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I got there, it was just unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life. I just,
Sad. I would have bawled.
I don't have words for it. It was completely saturated in urine and feces, hardened, like a cast. Like if you were to get a cast at the hospital, like that's what it felt like. And it smelled so bad. And it smelled so bad that for 2 days after I groomed the dog, my hands still smelled like the dog, even though I washed my hands like a bajillion times. They still smelled. That's how gross it was.
Oh my God, I can't.
It was, and
The poor thing.
she was so good. She was so good the
shouldn't even,
entire
like,
time.
He probably was like, I know this is helping me.
Every freaking dog that I have groomed from the Humane Society that has been a matted mess has been so well behaved.
It's probably because they like know.
They know. It's crazy how they know. And or they've been so neglected their whole life that just
so
having human
yeah.
attention is just, they're just grateful for it.
Oh, I want to die. That makes me so
I know.
depressed.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Watch this video and you'll cry.
I don't think I can. The picture sent me over the edge.
Oh, it was interesting to watch though.
Yeah,
Like,
you should
yeah.
watch it because it's very educational on how, like, I've never done that before. So it was me doing this for the first time as well and learning as I was going how to make this work. And now I know better for future grooms. If
Yeah.
I were to ever come in contact with an animal like that again, I know exactly what to do. But a lot of people are really angry because somebody obviously neglected this dog.
100%.
It was called in as a stray, but I know it wasn't a stray because it didn't have fleas, it didn't have ticks, it didn't have twigs, it didn't have dirt. Like there was nothing on it that would suggest that it has been outdoors for a prolonged period of time.
And it probably wouldn't have made it.
Well, she couldn't walk.
That's what I mean. Like,
How did they find it? Like it looked like a pile of hair on the side. Like was it on the road?
No, so somebody called and said that they found a stray. So they had the dog in their possession and said that they found it as a stray. So there's two things that could have happened. Either the person that called was actually the owner and didn't want to get prosecuted or admit that they obviously did this to the dog. So they pretended that they found it, or the person that called really did find the dog because somebody who owned it dumped it and then somebody else found
Yeah.
it. That's also a possibility.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably the second versus the first.
Yeah. I feel like it would have been, like we said, it would have been maybe someone elderly with like, I don't know, with dementia
Dementia
or
or
maybe it was
something.
someone with like a mental illness who
Yeah.
hoarded or like, I don't know, because like you said, it wasn't completely like skinny in the sense that it wasn't eating.
No. It was totally emaciated.
Oh my
It was totally emaciated. Emaciated means it was skin and
starved.
bones.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, somebody was obviously feeding it because it wouldn't still be alive
Well, yes.
with all of this hair on it. It obviously has been growing this coat for years and years and years. So it's been fed over the several years. But is it owned by somebody who had dementia, or is it owned by somebody that had severe mental illness who is also not taking care of themselves,
Yeah.
who's not taking care of their home? If they have this dog in a crate and it's pooping and peeing and sitting in its crate for years, you can imagine that the rest of the house probably looks similar. So my guess, and now there are people that just abuse animals, so it could be somebody that was abusing it, but it could also more likely be somebody that's also struggling horrifically themselves. And was not looking after the dog. The dog was not used for breeding. A lot of people commented saying this dog must have been used for breeding. It was not used for breeding. And I know that because when dogs are used for breeding and they've had multiple litters of puppies, their
Nipples
nipples
are
are
like- yeah.
very elongated. You can tell that they've had a lot of wear and tear. It's similar to people when they have, multiple kids and they're nursing multiple children. It's the same thing, right? Like eventually that doesn't look the way that it used to, right?
Maybe my nipples are gonna be all stretched out.
Tatis are gonna be a nice long super satty.
Well, I said multiple. I didn't say
Yes.
one, right? It's like when you have a breeding dog, it's used and abused
Oh yeah,
for
because
that.
they're like on
Yeah.
every.
It's
like,
very, very
yeah.
saggy.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that dog was used for breeding. I actually don't. I think it was somebody's pet. Maybe it was somebody's pet that at one time was very loved. Maybe somebody got very sick, whether physically or emotionally, couldn't take care of themselves, was just giving the dog food and water and not doing anything else with it because they weren't doing anything else. And if this person didn't have friends or family that were coming to check up on them, nobody would know that this was happening to them and their pet, right?
Makes me literally want to die of Saddam.
It happens. Unfortunately, it happens.
I wish like people were monitored. Like I wish there was like
know. I feel like
police for pets.
I just feel like it happens so much. We don't even know.
No.
Well, PAWS is looking into this. They are investigating it. PAWS is an acronym, and I always forget what it stands for.
Naughty.
But it's just insane because I just feel like again when me and Dylan went to Amsterdam, like I think I can't remember the percentage, but I think all of their animals, if not like in the 90 percentile, like are all homed. Like all have a home, and I think they actually have like in the Netherlands, like I think they actually have like I don't want to say like a police, but they have an agency or a company that like monitors like the health and the well-being of like
I need
animals.
that.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
feel like it's so bad here. Like,
Whereas I feel like we need that.
So PAWS is the provincial agency tasked with enforcing Ontario's welfare laws. So that's what they do. So they're investigating to try and find out where this dog came from and who potentially owned it.
It's just so sad because dogs are they're just so helpless.
Yeah, they need to be taken care of.
Like
literally
it
angels.
literally, I mean, I know people having kids, like it's not like you fill out an application to have a kid, like anybody can have a kid, but when you're actually like purchasing something like a dog or a pet, anything like that, like I feel like there should be a way more intensive
I
Just like
agree.
it is when you're adopting from a rescue.
Process,
Like they're
yeah.
very like thorough with that. Like they check your home, like everything.
like literally, like it should be like that on a regular. And I know for breeding, but there's so many backyard breeders, so it's hard
That's
to
the
monitor
issue.
that.
Yeah.
But it just it kills me, makes me want to cry.
You know, speaking
single
of
night.
the shelter like thoroughly checking out people before they adopt, that actually happened when I was there. So someone came in and they were like yelling at the staff. And I couldn't hear exactly what they were saying. I could just hear yelling. And I got the backstory afterwards and I saw the person that was yelling. And it was an older gentleman with like that was hunched over and like had some trouble walking. And he came in and he wanted to adopt the most gigantic mastiff in the shelter that was very high energy. It wasn't like one of those lazy mastiffs. It was like high energy. So they told him no because this dog's going to pull you down the street. You're not going to be able to handle him. And the guy was freaking out and like screaming at them. And a part of me feels like he wanted this dog for protection for some reason. So whether or not he just didn't feel safe in his home, or maybe he had a reason not to feel safe, maybe he had like something going on. It seemed like he wanted this dog for that reason. But they wouldn't let him get the dog. And he was very, very mad about it. But that kind of goes with what I hear a lot of people saying, you know, the shelter, you know, is constantly, you know, talking about how they have so many dogs, but then I go in there and I try to adopt and they won't let me adopt a dog. And that's one of those moments where it's like, no, you don't know the other backstory to it though. Like he's going to go home and say he tried to adopt a dog from the shelter and the shelter said no, but he's not going to mention the fact that the dog was way too large for him, way too strong for him, and he couldn't handle the dog. They don't want these animals to go to homes that it's not going to be successful.
No, because then they're going to either end up dropping them off again or dumping them. Like I feel like we keep
Or just
hearing,
not caring for them.
way too often now where people are just like dumping.
Did you see those 3
Animals on the
pregnant mastiffs that were dumped?
No.
Oh my God, I didn't want to see it.
Where?
So the Niagara SPCA posted a while ago that 3 pregnant female mastiffs were found. They were dumped.
Oh my God.
2 of them went to foster homes and one of them stayed at the Humane Society. When I was there grooming Angel, I got to see the
Is that
one
that you sent us?
yeah, with her puppies.
But like that just it doesn't make sense to me. Like if you don't want your dog getting pregnant, get them. Like,
well, that was
where
those dogs were
stayed.
intentionally pregnant. They were intentionally pregnant for sure. This was a backyard breeder.
So then
100%.
why would you dump them? That's horrible.
It's very confusing. It had to have been some type of situation where the people like had to go, like they had to flee or something, because the dog that I met was extremely affectionate, very sweet, very laid back, wonderful, beautiful temperament. My God, I wanted to keep that dog so bad. She was so freaking cute. So they definitely weren't abused. It's very confusing, but it keeps happening more and more where we're finding puppies that people are
Why are
dumping.
you dumping
So
them,
my
though?
question is like, what is the protocol when someone wants to give up their dog? Can they just go to the Humane Society and be like, I cannot care for this dog
they
without
have to
like
pay.
repercussion? Oh, okay.
They have to pay a fee to surrender their dog. So a lot of people, I think, dump their animals because they don't want to pay the fee and or shame in having to go there and do that.
I would feel so
right?
much better. Like, I don't know. With my like,
But for me, like those pregnant mastiffs could have been put on Kijiji. Not that this would have been great. Like I'm happy they went to the Humane Society because it was better for them. But it would have been better to go on Kijiji than to be dumped. Like
where
you
were
don't
they
know what would have happened. I can't remember where they were dumped. Like if they had their puppies out in the freezing cold and without food, like that would have been a disaster, right?
That is so like how could you take 3 of your dogs
It's bizarre.
and dump them?
But like if you went on Kijiji and said I have a pregnant female, like people would buy your dog specifically because they can sell the puppies. So I just don't really understand why
Yeah.
you would dump them and why people keep dumping litters of puppies. Like again, puppies are constantly purchased. So even if there was a litter,
I do think not as many people are purchasing nowadays.
you can put them up for $50. Trust me, they will be gone. They will be gone. Like, they might not purchase it for an expensive price, but if you need to get rid of them, you can get rid of them. So I don't understand the concept of dumping them. That part I don't get.
Yeah, because there was an issue last year, like at Fireman's Park. Remember, there was like 2 crates of puppies just dumped in the
That is so,
in the freezing cold.
Yeah.
I just like those.
Or was it
people-
the heat?
No, it was the freezing.
it was either
It was in the
or.
winter.
It was in the winter.
Yeah.
I just feel like those people are legit like the devil.
They're monsters.
Like they're
Yeah.
like,
how do you go home at night?
how
Like,
do
I
you
just dumped a
how
litter of
do you
dogs.
sleep at night?
Yeah.
Like something is seriously wrong with you. That's my thought, and I don't care. That is so like you wouldn't go and just dump your kid.
No, it's bizarre. It's bizarre behavior. But anyways, if anyone's looking for a Mastiff and they're in the Niagara region, the Welland Humane Society currently has the absolute sweetest dog I have ever met in my entire life. And if I didn't already have so many dogs, it would be coming home with me because she was just... I kept trying to pet her puppies and then she'd be like, no, pet me. Like, she'd get jealous. Like, no, pet me.
So sweet.
I'm gonna maybe send her to. Is she up for adoption right now?
No, because she's nursing, right? So the puppies are still very young. So once the pups are weaned, which will probably be around 6 weeks, she'll probably get spayed and then she'll be available for
Yeah, it's
adoption.
like 2 months.
That's why I really want to start walking dogs again at the Humane Society, like on the weekends. But I think I don't know if I'd be depressed or if I'd be happy to fulfill like going and seeing them, and if the same dogs are there and then like you go and you know they're adopted, because I used to do that, but I don't know if it would like make me sad nowadays, because now that I am a dog owner, I couldn't imagine doing that.
Even having to leave them after you walk them, you're like,
I think I would feel so bad. I'd be like, okay, I'll bring it home.
yeah,
I know.
a sanctuary.
But then they also are just so happy to probably see you,
Oh yeah,
so that's also nice too.
God.
Well, that's it for our topics. This episode was supposed to be about something completely different, which I guess we will do for the next episode. So I guess there will be another episode.
So you might have to come back.
Yeah, you have to come back because you have to tell your story.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Hopefully it'll be before that, but if not, you can bring her too.
Perfect.
We can bring it to you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Set it
My
up at your
dogs.
house. Yeah, with all the dogs.
Charlie would be like right here.
It's okay. Then they can see your big bungies.
They're so cute.
But the next episode is going to be about stalkers, kind of like people, like we've had some experiences with being stalked. I had a really scary experience. I think it was last summer. Really scary. You had a really scary experience recently. Christina, you've had a scary experience when you were in college.
Like university, yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to tell those stories the next time we're on here and talk a little bit about women's safety after the whole thing came out with Lake and Riley. You guys have seen that. I think I said her name correctly. Hopefully I said her name correctly.
Devastating. It's the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
About a runner. Like she just went for a daily run and was attacked and
I
killed.
never know anything.
This was all over social media, but if you're not scrolling through
Yeah.
social media, you're not going to see it.
It's a dark place.
I don't. That's
Yeah.
probably one of the reasons why I don't.
But that's the reason why I wanted to do that episode, was because after I saw
Got it.
that, a lot of people were posting things like, this is what you need to do when you go out. And I'm like, I have a little story and another side of what you should be doing when you go out as women. So we'll talk about that on the next episode. Thanks, guys, for coming and
Thanks for
hearing me vent about my week.
Oh, anytime, girl.
Anytime.
I feel so mentally drained.
That is so. I'd be depressed and in
yeah,
a hole.
it's
Like,
a lot.
those three
Like, all
things.
different like
I'm
aspects.
depressed hearing all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not depressed. I just feel like
I'm a little
very tired
Yeah.
and overwhelmed, and I need.
This
a
is
little
why
bit of a
we have
break.
to hurry up and open the pet sanctuary, and I would just come work at it every day. So
Same.
is Sarah.
Oh
We
my
both
God,
actually
that would. Be a
would.
dream.
Okay, well, let me know when you guys have the money
Oh,
because
I don't have one.
it is not. It's not cheap.
Because you have to
God.
pay to feed them all.
And it's not even for that. I
Okay.
can certainly get donations through social media to help me run a rescue. It's actually buying the place,
True.
making sure the place is feasible, renovating it to make it work, unless I can find something that already is kind of available, which is not easy to find.
There was something in Iron Lake.
Yeah, I know. Niagara Pet Resort is up for sale.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't like the house.
Yeah, the house was. I was
Said
like,
to
no.
Vanessa, I was like, if you bought it, I'd literally come and work for you every day. We both.
Yeah, I
would.
would.
The property is beautiful. The kennel is beautiful. The grooming area is beautiful. It's like perfect for me. But the house.
Could you just knock it down and rebuild?
Yeah. Okay. So where am I getting this money?
I don't know. We'll find it.
No, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. It's out of reach
We
right
would
now.
literally come and work for you. And then again, there'd be enough of us where if someone was going away, we'd have someone there to do like boarding if we chose to do that. Or we could do it where we only board a certain amount of dogs.
Again, I think I can find the help. I think I can find the donations to make the rescue run. It's not that I'm worried about. It's the property, finding the right place. And then you have to understand, if I do buy something, then I am tied to that spot. And I don't know if I want to live in this area for the rest of my life. So it's not something I can do right now. It's something I need to think about in the future.
I mean, you're tied to it unless you sell it.
Sure, but it's not easy to sell. Like I'm sure that Niagara Pet Resort is not going to have an easy time selling that property.
It's very specific.
Yes.
But Sarah's going to be here, so she could live there for you.
I had a
forever.
different charity idea that I wanted to do.
What?
I really want to open up a charity, which is going to take quite some time because opening up a charity is insane, just so you know. And a lot of like lawyer fees and all that. But I wanted to open up a charity where people could donate towards it, and then that money can be used for people that desperately need help paying for vet bills. So if somebody from low income has an animal that needs a surgery, like a dental, they could apply through my charity. And if they are approved, then they can get the finances to pay for their dog's dental, because vet care is so expensive and a lot of people can't afford it.
That's so true.
So
amazing.
And I feel like it's a little bit different of a charity than what like a dog rescue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is more, yes, it's helping animals, but it's also helping people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of my idea. But to get started on it, I already tried starting on like the not application. I guess it's an application. I'm not sure. You call your lawyer does all of this. Then they sent me all of this like documentation, and I was like reading it through it, and I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed right now. I can't even think about this.
You have like a little bit too much on the go.
Yeah.
So, like you need to just
But that sounds amazing.
take a step back and do one thing at a time.
That is my goal.
Yes.
I'll get there eventually. But yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to wait for the rescue or sanctuary, whatever you want it to be.
I would like just an animal sanctuary. It doesn't
That's
have
what
to
I
be just
mean.
dogs. Like I would love to have
Yeah.
like all
Oh my
different
God.
types
I would
of animals.
love to be. We have some
Donkeys.
ducks, some donkeys. Oh my
Cows.
gosh, it'd be
Oh my God,
so
cows.
fun.
I would love to have a cow.
We
Yeah,
would
cows
work
would
on
be
it
good.
for you.
I'm sure you would. So you guys
Yeah.
are going to leave your jobs
100%.
and come
my
work
God,
for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But do I have to pay you the same as what you're currently getting paid?
I mean, what I'm getting paid is not good. So it would be pennies.
I mean, I would maybe come do it part time.
Okay. That makes more sense. Okay, we're going to wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I will see you at some point. I don't know when we're going to be filming that, but probably after Christmas.
Happy
I'm going to assume.
holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
We have our festive sweaters on.
Happy.
I'm just in red.
Holiday.
No, that was not good harmony.
Not good. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for tuning in. I will see you in a couple of weeks or so on the next episode of Talk Your Tail Off.